Welcome back to Crunch Time Live. My name is Santiago Casanova, and I'm joined by Matt Ward at PsychWardFF. How are you doing today?
Good, man. I was just vibing to that crunch time intro beat.
It's so good. It is very good. Very, very good. It's week 11. It's playoffs are almost like right around the corner, so it really is crunch time now. Are you ready for some start set questions, some breaking news, all of that good stuff?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get right into some player news. What do you have for me today?
Ezekiel Elliott returns today against the Vikings,
Nice.
apparently, as it appears, the beat reporters are saying that Tony Pollard is still in line to get more touches as they kind of
Mm,
ease Zeke back in, and obviously because he practiced in a limited fashion, the game plan is kind of scripted already for Tony Pollard to be the RB1, whereas Zeke kind of didn't have those reps with the first team in a game plan that is
right,
set to
right.
beat in a very crucial matchup, obviously. Um, Another one, I guess, kind of quite significant would be essentially the entire Chargers offense returning from injury again,
Yeah.
right? Like Mike Williams is back. Gerald Everett was listed questionable as in a game time decision, but Keenan Allen is back. They're both expected to play. Mike Williams said, "I'll see you out there on Sunday." Keenan Allen said, "I'm going to leave it up to the coaches to decide, but I'm good to go." So, and they're both expected from the beats to play. Um, Lamar Jackson, who was missed practices with an illness this week, and obviously, his fellow cohort Mark Andrews with the shoulder are both expected to play this week as well. Smaller news, I guess. Devontae Parker, who is listed as questionable, is going to play today.
Good.
Yeah, I know. Kind of one that might affect the Vikings, I guess, more so, but it's a Cowboys injury, is Demarcus Lawrence. He's barely practiced this week. He's questionable, limited snaps, game time decision via Tom Pelissero. So that's obviously a huge loss to the defensive front if Lawrence can't go, and a boosted matchup to Cook looks even a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. Some other players that are expected to play are Stafford, Josh Allen, Jarvis Landry, and Justin Jefferson. Even Minka Fitzpatrick, if you're thinking about that Steelers defense, those are all expected to play. So some pretty big names there on the fence on whether they play or not. So expected to play is a very good sign right now.
Absolutely.
What do you say we get right down to the questions, or do you have any other pertinent news right now?
No, I mean that's all off the top. I guess AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, but that wasn't really
Right,
a
right.
concern. They are both, they
Both
both
clear.
got into full practice yet.
Yeah. All right, so let's get right into it. We got Joe Arias, morning boys. Hey, morning. How are you? Chase and Steez, what's up, guys? Start Foreman or Hunt, or I could risk and wait to see if Marquise Brown plays, and if he doesn't, I can start Eli Mitchell.
I kind of like he's already, breaking down the perfect strategy, and I do kind of
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
latter there. I really do, especially in that matchup against Arizona, which is a great matchup for running backs, the best. And we saw him get 18 carries. He's not going to get as much receiving production, and CMC is still their RB1, but Elijah Mitchell definitely has flex upside play, and that's kind of really in a downgraded matchup. Probably we'll get into it a little bit later, but Foreman is, one of the downgraded running backs in Broto Fantasy's sleeper and bust article this week.
right.
Hunt really hasn't done anything at all. So I think Elijah Mitchell would put up very similar numbers to Kareem Hunt, with Foreman having a little bit
Agreed.
higher of a maybe floor than either of those two options. But Marquise Brown is the guy that you want to start over all of them if he's cleared to play on Monday. And because you have that pivot, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like that actually. I really do like that. Just also the fact that Arizona is such a soft defense for running backs. I think I remember correctly, they're the number one defense in points over average. So that means,
Yep.
on average, running backs score the most points, like over their average against the Cardinals. So if you have that pivot, that's like a high upside, low floor, albeit pivot, but with the high upside of Marquise Brown playing. So what do you need us for? You already have the perfect strategy. So yeah, looks like we are all in agreement, all three of us. So good luck with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, have a good week 11. Brandon says, "Do you think Mark Andrews plays?" Yeah, you mentioned a little bit. He is
Yeah.
on track to play, right?
On track to play, yeah. And I mean, I know we've had a trap game from Mark Andrews already this season where, on track to play, played, was kind of decoy the entire game, saw one target, which is obviously massively abnormal to
Right.
his league
Yeah.
leading target share. So yeah, there's cause for concern there, but he is on track to play, and in no world do I sit Mark Andrews. I just can't do it.
Yeah. If he's playing, especially in the tight end landscape, you don't want to start a low end tight end. Like that's just never a good idea, unless you have like a surefire sleeper, like I don't know, Hayden Hurst week 3, something like that. I think it was week 3, week 4. But other than that, if you have one of the top tight ends, you start him if he's playing, because chances are other guy's gonna get you the same amount of points as a hurt top guy, like
Exactly.
worst case scenario. So
Right.
yeah, if Mark Andrews plays, which we think he does, you start him. All right. Jake from IT says, so Gus Edwards out, Dolchich or Hunt. I mean, unless it's like tight end premium. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you can. They're putting up similar points per game anyway. I mean, obviously Greg
That's
Dulcich
true. That's
is
true.
in a much smaller window, whereas Hunt has played every game. But I really think that there's an argument that you could play Greg Dulcich in a pretty good matchup for the Raiders, or against the Raiders rather. Not for tight ends, but like this is
Yeah. Yeah.
so something that I was, obviously always got the true matchup ranks, but the Raiders are one of the better matchups for quarterbacks specifically, and obviously Greg Dulcich has been Russell Wilson's. I guess Sutton has just a slightly higher target share, but has been Russell Wilson's most effective target for sure. And he continues to look his way, even in the game that he only had, one reception. He did have 4 targets and played 82% of the snaps. Yeah. And the Raiders are the best matchup for points over average for quarterbacks. So I know Russell
However,
Wilson's
that includes mostly rushing.
right.
I mean, they're also soft on passing quarterbacks, but like those
They're the
points are mostly
sixth
for rushing, right?
sixth best matchup for passing quarterbacks, second best matchup for rushing quarterbacks, which is obviously what boosts them up into that first
Right.
overall ranking.
Right.
But yeah, so like there is, an opportunity to exploit a defense that hasn't really looked the best as of late as well.
Sure.
Um, and I mean, really, with Kareem Hunt, you're against the Buffalo defense with Nick Chubb healthy,
True.
and really, like, it is not a committee anymore. It was kind of, it was Chubb really to start the season, and then a little bit of a wavering committee as far as snap percentages were concerned. And now it was like Chubb had 80 and Hunt had 20 last week. So I really, all you're hoping for with Kareem Hunt for a high upside play is if Nick Chubb, knock on wood, gets injured. I think
Hmm.
you could, yeah, I think it's Greg Dulcich here.
That's a good point. I think you're turning me here. So okay, let's go. As a Greg Dulcich tight end flex half PPR. Let's get it, Jake. So yeah, I mean yeah, like you said at the start, they have scored a similar amount of points per game in general, and now with your arguments, you've flipped me. So yeah, we can agree on Dulcich here. So good luck, Jake. Ryan Mullen, Saints or Giants defense? You're the Saints guy here, so give it to me.
Giants defense here,
Hmm,
specifically because the Saints are no Pete Werner, no Cam Jordan, no Marshawn Lattimore. That's the
that's
defense.
enough for me. Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
Giants
Demario
D.
Davis is still Demario Davis,
Yeah, it
but
was one
it's
guy.
there's literally like the entire core is out.
Yep, yep. So yeah, there you go, Ryan. Wasn't too hard. We got Mitchell now. Start three. Hollywood, D Hop. Hollywood, interesting. Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson, Peoples Jones, full PPR. Okay, let's go process of elimination because there's two questionable guys in there, right? So yeah,
Right. So I think the must start, considering how he's looked almost matchup proof and destroyed New England the last time that they played, you're starting Garrett Wilson in
right,
this line
yeah,
of people. Because we have three questionable guys, really. Like
right,
Keenan's on track, but he still said it was up to the coaches, which leaves him as a game time decision. They didn't remove his questionable tag
right,
yet,
right.
and I mean, they haven't removed Mike Williams either. But they're both, yes, on track. Hollywood being and D Hop being the Monday night game. I'm
That's difficult.
That's where things get really tough. But Hop was a hamstring. Obviously, we don't like those type of soft tissue injuries popping up in like midweek in practices. But somebody pointed out on Twitter that I didn't even notice, and I don't think a lot of people noticed. He did miss like one entire drive late in the third quarter in that last game. So there might have been actually some sort of injury during the game. But even the Cardinals
Mm.
said it was a maintenance thing, like they called it
Yeah,
veteran
yeah.
maintenance. Right. So I'm not so
Called him
concerned
old.
about DeAndre Hopkins. So you have to start D Hop. Like I think he's probably, going to play and going to be a 30% target share guy as well.
Mm.
Maybe closer to 25 because I think Hollywood is a smash any week as long as that foot is good enough. And by all indications of what he's been doing in practice and how they're talking about him, that foot seems like it's good enough. So yeah, the sit here is Donovan Peoples-Jones, and
Yep, yep.
potentially you have to wait out that Hollywood scenario. So I would just go with D Hop and Keenan Allen.
I mean, honestly, what you can do is since you have two Monday guys, start Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson. Well, just pending on Keenan Allen status. If he plays, you play him. That's what I would do.
Right.
So start those two, and then wait on Monday night and see which of Hollywood or D Hop is. Well, if they're both active, who do you go with? D Hop.
I think D Hop for the first game back. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're both active, D Hop. If not, whoever's active. If neither of them is active, get a pivot. But I would risk it. Honestly, I would risk it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there are some decent pivots, I guess, in that game, because you got a few guys on the San Francisco side that are always low rostered that have touchdown upside.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Mitchell. Wait on Keenan Allen. See what time slot do the Chargers have.
They're the mid slot, I think.
Okay, so we should get news for them in a little bit. So Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, flip a coin between the other two. Hope one of them plays at least, if not both. But yeah, that's what I would do. So good luck,
Oh yeah,
Mitchell.
the Chargers are the Sunday night game. My bad. They play the Chiefs. Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's not better because if
No,
it gets
it's a
Sunday
long
night,
it's a
Keenan
longer
Allen.
window to where we don't know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Keenan
exactly.
Allen doesn't play. Now we're in trouble. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but I
would
mean,
just
you have
say
the
get a
same
pivot.
I mean, you have the same situation with Hollywood and Hopkins here, and Peoples Jones isn't somebody overly exciting for me
No, no,
against,
definitely not.
you know, yeah,
You gotta risk
and
it.
I mean, I guess he has looked much better and has been getting some decent targets, but I would rather risk starting any of those other guys, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a tough one. This is a tough one, Mitchell. But I would risk it with either Hollywood slash D Hop for one slot, Keenan Allen for the second, and Garrett Wilson as a sure one for the third. Ignore Peoples Jones and just risk it. See and hopefully enough of them play, but just get a Sunday night slash Monday night pivot just in case.
Yeah, like Juwan Jennings.
Right, right. Someone. Oh yeah. Oh right. Yeah. They play here. Actually, I forgot about that. They
Yeah,
play in my hometown.
San Francisco.
Yep. All right. So there you go. If you have any more context that you can give us, like the pivots you can pick up, we can help you a little bit more. If not, good luck. We have one from Joe, my man Joe. Full PPR: James Conner, Curtis Samuel, or Swift.
I think the upside play is DeAndre Swift, but what
Yeah.
upside really is attached to a 30% snap share and 25% opportunity share? It's probably
Okay.
James Conner.
Yeah. Are we picking one, or I guess we're picking one, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it's two, it's Connor and Swift for me.
Yeah,
One, I guess. Well, I guess I'll lean James Conner here a little bit. I'm just
because
worried about
San
how
Francisco's a tough
the
matchup for running backs.
absolutely. I'm just genuinely worried about how the Lions are going to use DeAndre Swift for the rest of the season.
And the
And
Giants
I've
aren't an easy matchup either,
not
honestly. So
exactly, exactly. And I've written about it and tweeted about it and stuff. But Swift really does just look like they know that they're in a losing season again. They know how valuable that high pick can be in 2023, and they know that they want a healthy DeAndre Swift with their rookie quarterback that's coming in.
yeah, I think out of those three full PPR, I would go Connor and sweat it out Monday night. I think so. Agree?
Yeah,
All right. Looks like we're on the same page. Not the most comfortable decision, but yeah, there you go, Joe. Good luck. We have one from Michael Wozniak. Morning, boys. Let's catch up W today. Yes, sir. Running back Drake, Elliott, or Algier. Um, you mentioned you talked about Elliott a little bit earlier. What are your thoughts on this?
yeah. I mean, Minnesota's not the easiest matchup for running
No,
backs
definitely
either.
not.
And that said, like the the team that said they are willing to let him play or whatever, like it was from the Cowboys coaching staff that said Tony Pollard is going to lead the team in snaps and touches today.
Right, right.
So it's a limited role, and yeah, even keying Elliott in for a limited role could mean 3 to 5 touches inside of the 10-yard line, which for Zeke could lead to 2 touchdowns. But you have a decent pivot in Algier in a really good matchup.
Yo, no, honestly, Kenny and Drake, I don't hate it either.
Right. Oh
Like,
yeah. I mean, right. I
yeah,
know
like
Gus Edwards too.
right.
I
No
kind of
Gus
forgot.
Edwards against
We did
Carolina,
mention that. Right.
who are the third best matchup for running backs in points per average.
Yeah, and I think the
So,
Bears are the second.
Bears are no, they're the eighth.
Eighth. Eighth. Okay. Still
Yeah, I
decent,
mean
but yeah, still
still
decent.
top 10 for sure.
Right. Right.
But I mean, that third Carolina is worth good for plus 34.8 points over average. When you consider that Drake's average is 10, that's about 13 points, 13, 14 points. So that's very decent for a pivot, especially when like Elliott's on a bad matchup, coming out of injury, maybe not being the full starter. So I'm leaning Drake here. I would start Drake,
Yeah,
but
I don't
also like
disagree with you too. And before the
fuck the
bye, we saw
Falcons,
him have a
honestly.
pretty decent a pretty yeah, facts. A pretty decent opportunity share against the Saints. He was like big time RB1, his highest opportunity share of the season
Right,
against the Saints
right,
before the bye. And now, one more week to prepare without Gus Edwards again in the backfield.
right.
Really no other decent running backs in the backfield that don't also throw the ball in
Oh,
Lamar
fuck.
Jackson.
Yeah. No, yeah. I
But
think Drake's the answer here.
facts. Yeah, I agree with you. I do.
Yeah. All right, Michael, Michael. Good luck. We got one from Themi, the Great Iron Greek. Good morning, fellas. Full PPR. Latavius Murray or Khalif Raymond. I'm a big Khalif guy. Not necessarily this season. I liked him a lot last season. He just holds a special place in my heart. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, Themi kind of said it. The answer in his question is Latavius Murray's had some surprisingly decent fantasy games, like an
Mm,
8 point, just 8.8 points. So I mean, like
consistent.
I don't hate. Yeah, exactly. And what's Khalif Raymond's floor really attached to is a big touchdown play. Probably is not getting the
Right.
target share. Obviously, Amon Ra, whenever healthy, is going to command plus 28% target share, and that kind of leaves nothing for anybody.
Right.
They
Right.
just, kind of a interesting issuance of everybody getting 2 targets, 2 targets, 2 targets. So yeah, I don't hate Latavius Murray here. I don't hate Latavius Murray as a low end flex play all season, to be honest. As long as they're
All
gonna
right.
keep mistreating Melvin Gordon, so to speak. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can plug him in for 8 points.
All right. Yeah. There you go. Themi answered himself. Matt confirmed. So yeah, let's get it, Themi. Charles Kearney, great guy. Good morning. Happy week 11. Been crushed by injuries lately, haven't we all? we have to be risking starting Hollywood over Jarvis. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, especially like kind of what you said. I've been crushed by injuries as well, and on those middling teams that are 6-4, 5-5, what have you. This is Hail Mary time. Like I need the. I'm more interested at this point in the season on those types of rosters in getting the 20 points than the 10.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So yeah, you gotta go for it, risk it for the biscuit, and yeah, good luck, Charles. Brent says bet. So let's go. Jason has another one. Joku, Kittle, or Fryermuth. Gotta be Kittle, right? Or am I tripping there?
Yeah, you're not
I think
tripping. No,
Arizona
it's
is the
Kittle.
second best. Yeah, Arizona is the
Yeah,
second best
no, it's
matchup.
Kittle. Like
Yeah,
Arizona's as exploitable as it gets for tight ends.
for
It's
sure,
Kittle,
for sure. They all
100%.
have great matchups, but Kittle is Kittle, and they're playing Arizona, who are allowing 80 plus percent points over average. So yeah, I'm not even thinking about this twice. Is he injured or something? Like why?
Kittle, no, I mean Kittle's just not. Kittle's just
Not
pass
not been
blocking
incredible.
again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But like
He's
he's
just
still Kittle in a very good matchup. So
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm down.
Love
All
Patty
right,
F
there you go,
though.
Jason. Oh yeah, and Joe also has a great matchup. But anyway, Jake from IT says I have Devonta Smith in my flex, Rondell Moore on my bench, Hollywood on IR. Do I go with Rondell in the flex to hold for if Hollywood plays, or I just keep Devonta in? Hmm, that is a good question.
I think there's a very reasonable strategy pivot here, and Rondale and Smith. Rondale without Hollywood likely puts up similar numbers to Devonte Smith, right? Like we've seen
Okay,
Rondale
okay,
literally been averaging 18 points per game over the last 4 games.
right. I mean, so yeah, I think that just makes
And
it
that's
easy. So
because Hollywood isn't there. So if
yeah,
Hollywood steps in, I would start
you have
him over
Hollywood.
Rondale and
All right,
probably
yeah,
over Devonte
yeah,
Smith,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I like that.
yeah,
I like that. Yeah, that's a quality pivot. That's a very good quality pivot. So yeah, Jake, risk it, and if he doesn't end up playing, you have a very good substitution there. So good situation to be in. Good luck, Jake. Ryan H, pick three, standard. Oh, standard. Darius Layton, Tony Pollard. No, sorry, Kadarius Tony, Keenan
yep.
Allen, Josh Palmer, or Ayuk. Standard.
Okay, so we don't have to no we can sit Josh Palmer here,
Okay, check.
right? One that
That's it,
leaves
right?
us with four.
Oh no 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 no.
And,
So it's
so we
yeah.
have between Ayuk, Keenan Allen, Tony, and Slayton. Slayton.
S- Slayton, you sitting Slayton?
I don't know, man. Against Detroit and him kind of being the big play Slay ton that he is, the number one wide receiver on the Giants. Wandale Robinson limited and hurt again. That one's tough. I
Are you
might be
considering sitting Tony at all?
yeah. It's exactly who I'm considering sitting because we're
Yeah.
just talking about yardage totals.
Yep. Yep.
It's
So
exactly who I'm
sit Tony.
considering.
So Slayton,
But
Allen, and Ayuk.
the touchdown upside's also with Tony here too. But I like,
Yeah,
I
but
see Brandon Ayuk as 70 yards and a touchdown upside as well. Same for Keenan Allen and Darius Slayton. Honestly, against Detroit, like could have just a massive game. And
I
because
think so too.
I do like Tony. He's somebody that I tweeted about. Like I'm definitely starting in a lot of lineups, but I don't play really in any standard leagues. And a part of the reason why I'm starting him is I kind of see him around a 5 for 58 and a touchdown. He's not going to blow the doors off, but he's going to be really serviceable this week.
Right.
I think
Right.
that's kind of where the trap is people are getting risky enough to put him in their like top 10, top 12 wide receivers, where I'm certainly not that bullish on him. But that's who I'm considering sitting in a standard league, knowing that you're just searching for yardage and touchdowns.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I think Tony is out. Leaves us with Slayton, Allen, and Ayuk. Correct. If
Yep.
Allen doesn't play by some bad luck, you have Palmer as a as a
You have
decent
you have the
pivot. So
Tony pivot. You have the Tony pivot. They play the Chiefs.
oh right, it's playing game. Yeah. No. So there you go. So yeah, no issues there. Good luck, Ryan. Go nail it. Another one from Joe. I have Justin Fields playing over Kyler, but my question is, would you play Cole Komet? Uh, Greg, who is that?
G
Greg
Doll. That's
Dulcich.
definitely Greg Dulcich. Yeah, he's the
Okay,
G Doll because
okay.
he's handsome.
I'm not up with the nicknames.
Yeah.
Or let me read. Full PPR, 6 points for QB, touchdowns.
Whew.
So yeah,
Well, I mean, then playing Justin Fields over Kyler is
I mean
Kyler's
I don't hate
definitely
it.
going to pass for more touchdowns. No, I don't hate it either, man. Justin Fields is going to rush for 130. Um,
No, command. We talked about the move and like we like the matchup as well. So
right. And I mean, I love Muth. I would start Muth over both of those options in a vacuum any
yep,
given week.
yep,
Greg
yep.
Dulcich any given week, probably regardless of matchup. The argument really is Cole Kmet because, like, I mean, he just can't. You assume like he can't keep sustaining this 2 touchdown ceiling. It's ridiculous.
Yo,
But he
even if he
is.
does, he's scoring less points than Fryermuth, like week in and week out, even with his insane touchdown volume. So I'm still playing Fryermuth in a very decent matchup against Cincinnati. Not the best, still decent. I know Komet's matchup is better, but I still like the move. Like sneak peek, we do DFS optimizer for patrons, and the move popped up a couple times. Like he's a good value right now.
I like that.
I like it. I like it honestly.
No, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right. So yeah, there you go, Joe. Good luck.
Yeah, put that
Now
stack in.
Isaiah. Oh yeah, Isaiah Simpson. Take the chance on Hollywood no starting or Stan Van. I'm guessing like Van Jefferson
Van Jefferson.
and DJ Moore. I wouldn't. I don't want to start Van Jefferson over Hollywood. Definitely not.
I don't want to start
Depends. Like
Van over DJ Moore either.
no, I think it's start Van Jefferson and DJ Moore instead of
Oh,
Hollywood. So
okay.
you have like those are the options like for his wide receivers.
Right, right. So it's like pick, yeah, out of 3 pick. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, pick two.
I would
So
sit Van.
yeah, I would sit Van and risk it, and then look for a pivot. Let us know who's available on your bench or like on your wire for Monday night, so you can have a pivot for in case Hollywood does not play. Because yeah, I mean you need to have someone in there. Maybe get 3 points, 2 points, whatever. But
Anything, yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much what Van Jefferson's gonna get you. I think maybe six something,
Exactly.
but I'd rather risk the Hollywood volume. Yeah, I'm sorry, the ceiling. So yeah, there you go, Isaiah. Good luck, and let us know. Do let us know the context so we can help you more. Charles, we're starting Hollywood. Who gets benched faster, Damien Harris or Kenyon Drake? Definitely Harris. Uh, could pick up McBride as a poor man's insurance policy. That is very poor insurance policy. What are your thoughts? I
But there
went
you go. That's a
fast,
good
but
pivot that I kind of wasn't thinking about. There, McBride's a decent pivot. Juwan Jennings is a decent pivot.
yeah,
Decent
exactly.
as in like
Those are
you're
your
probably,
low end.
that's
Yeah.
probably yeah, exactly. With some touchdown upside there too. I mean, man, just because his name was mentioned, we haven't had a chance to see it. Obviously, Zach Ertz has been in the way, and that shouldn't
Mm.
concern people as
Oh,
far
that's
as
right. That's
career
right.
arc, goes because lots of tight ends play backup roles, especially with Trey McBride's draft capital being second round, and lots of guys play backup roles in their first season, and then I mean, look at even Cole Kmet behind Jimmy Graham. A decrepit Jimmy Graham as a rookie and second year as well, right? So, yeah, it shouldn't worry people about his career arc. And he was my tight end one entering the rookie class of 2022. I'm really excited to see Cole, or rather Trey McBride this weekend. But it's tough. Rookie tight ends don't usually produce, and even Greg Dulcich in his 4 game window has had one absolutely horrendous game, and
Yeah.
so it's not a
Yeah.
consistent thing that you can rely on when it comes to these rookie tight ends.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think McBride is a much decent matchup. Sorry, a much decent option than I originally thought because I forgot about Zuckerts. So yeah, that's a decent insurance policy and definitely Harris out of those two, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
All right,
Kenyon Drake over
for sure,
Harris
for sure.
all day, all night.
So yeah, there you go, Charles. Good luck. We have Nick Watts, Marquise Brown, or Tony, both
I
late
think
guys. So go ahead.
But I think Tony being the healthy guy in a Kansas City Sunday night matchup against the Chargers, I think you can start Tony here. Like I am high on Tony. I'm just knowing that that you need the insurance policy. There's not going to be a much better pivot than a Tony level play. So
True. Yeah, I mean, you can even wait till Sunday night, see if we get more info on Marquise Brown. If not, go with Tony. If you get like more clarity on whether he's playing or not, I'd say risk it for Marquise. But if not, like if you're not comfortable with that, Tony's still a very decent option. He's not a bad pivot. So that's where I'm at.
Right. And again, I just want to reiterate, it's like I'm not bullish like other people putting him in the top 12, but I think a top 20 wide receiver finish, top 16 is definitely in the range of outcomes for Kadarius Toney this week.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Zeke or London? One, two,
Drake
three.
London.
London. Yeah. Easy as that. There you go. Jason Petropoulos. He's a
Oh, I've
great
never
guy.
heard of
Good
that guy
fan.
before.
Good fan. Yeah, good fan. Mitchell is back. I'll give you more insight on my team. There you go. Right now I'm running Davante, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen. In my flex, I'm running B Rob. Okay. Am I making a mistake playing it safe and not starting Hollywood or D Hop?
I'd
Yes.
start D Hop over B Rob.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, me too.
Just
You have
you know he's
those two.
playing. I mean, you assume unless there's some
Yeah.
major
Yeah.
setback in like pregame practices or whatever.
Because we sometimes get those surprises. But yeah,
Yes,
I'd
100%,
rather
especially with
risk
these
it.
soft tissue injuries.
Yeah. I'd rather risk it with one of those two than B Rob's mediocre performance, to be honest. Watch this be the week he blows up and we just look like assholes. But yeah, I'd rather risk it for one of those guys. You have a 2x chance of having a good performance. So definitely flex out B Rob, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, there you go, Mitchell. Risk it. You got to risk it. It's crunch time. Ray Garmer says start two in standard. Patterson versus the Bears, Tony versus the Chargers, Boyd versus the Steelers. I love that he gives the matchups. That's awesome.
Me
Boyd
too.
versus the Steelers or Debo versus the Cardinals.
Those are
Okay,
all such
standard.
good
True.
matchups.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, standard too.
Yeah, standard.
Okay. I'm going to sit
Yeah,
Patterson
yeah. I'm
in
just thinking.
standard. And I
Reach
usually,
sit two.
oh, yeah, damn it. Um,
This is not
wow,
an easy one.
that.
They're like
No, not
around
at
the
all. They
same
all have
level,
such good matchups. The Cardinals are the number one team for yards after the catch in the league, which is
I mean,
Debo's
yeah, I'm
game.
starting Debo,
Yeah,
right?
you're
Yeah.
starting
So
Debo.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
just a
I was just
question
breaking down the
between Tony
matchups.
and
The
Boyd.
Steelers
Yeah.
are
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the worst secondaries. But with TJ Watt
Oh,
back, they've
Minka's back
obviously
though. TJ Watt and Minka
Minka's
are both
back.
back. Yes. Well, expected to
Oh,
play. They're
I
running
mean, he
that
just had
three
an
safety.
appendectomy. I didn't realize that he was actually getting cleared. That's pretty
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
they're running three safety looks. I saw this week. So when you have like three good safeties, but I mean
yeah, I
the
mean this
Chargers are
one,
not a good matchup for Tony. I gotta mention that.
right? There's just
Yeah,
there's
we are
obvious.
too.
Yeah, yeah. Just obvious upside in that Tony matchup, especially like even in standard. We were talking about it with the previous matchup, but there was also a lot more yards attached to some of the other projections in the previous standard start sit with Tony. Like I said it earlier, I think like 558 and a touchdown. That's right around where I have Tony projected for this week. Patterson versus the Bears. I really like. Obviously, the Bears are allowing like 149 yards on the ground. I really like Cordarrelle Patterson, but more so in PPR plays because he's their slot receiver, he's their backfield receiver, you know. So
Yeah, exactly. That's
standard,
PPR
you can downgrade him a little bit in standard leagues, I think, even though in
for sure.
standard you might usually lean towards the running back, but because
That
he's
was the
not
other
like
thing, but not in Patterson's
right,
case.
but because he's not the lead rusher on the team, right? The Algier is handling the higher amount of rushing opportunities.
Right,
So
right.
because of that, I think you can downgrade Patterson a little bit in standard, which would lead us with Tony, Boyd, and Debo. You're starting Debo no matter what. So it's between Kadarius Tony and Tyler Boyd. Now the Steelers with Minka back and with TJ Watt back have kind of TJ Watt specifically. It was something that shout out Themi. I've already used this in one of the articles, but I'll bring it up again. Is they were top 5 in EPA with TJ Watt on the field and essentially like dead last with him not.
Dead
So
last, yeah.
yeah. So definitely a different defense. You have a monster like that can put pressure on the quarterback and get in the backfield, and you just disrupt everything. It's not something that needs much, analytic analysis. It's just the matter of the fact of the game. So, yeah, breaking this down maybe a little bit too deep, but I think it's Tony, Debo, and Tyler Boyd.
You're starting two.
Yeah, yeah, are the
Oh,
again, yeah. So sit Boyd.
I want to sit Tony. Gotta be honest. I want to sit Tony. The matchup is better for Boyd. Like even with the improved Steelers defense, they have not been locked down like they have other years. And Joe Burrow is still very capable. So I'm personally going Boyd and Debo. Matt seems to be leaning Tony and Debo. So I'm
Yep.
sorry we're not more helpful because we're having the same hard time with this
Just as much of
decision
a
as
hard
you are,
time.
Ray.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make my case. Boyd is a wide receiver two over there with no really tight end, like big tight end to bully out some targets and a better matchup than Tony, who has had one good game and a worse matchup. So that's my argument for Boyd. Matt has made his for Tony. So yeah, there you go, Ray. Hopefully we make the right decision. I'll be checking back on this later for sure. Another one from Charles. He says full PPR Gibson versus Drake. I like Gibson. I mean, we talked a lot about Drake, but Gibson is in a smash matchup, and especially in PPR
Yeah, I
because
mean,
Houston is
I like
soft.
Gibson too. I know, yeah, they're as soft as, arguably as soft as it gets for some. I still like Drake. Slight edge to Gibson with the pass catching there, I guess. I still like Drake.
Yeah, like the whole thing is well, you know what? That's true because they are more susceptible. Houston's more susceptible through through in the ground than through the air.
Right. Yeah, the league
Honestly, they're
league worst
both good
rushing
options.
yards, but they're not like that terrible as a passing defense. But a part of that is also like you can when there's such a large gap in that sense, then why would teams pass against them? So that's why you see their averages in the passing game drop
Right,
so much as
right,
well, right?
right, right,
Because they're also one of the lowest volume defenses that teams pass against because you can just run for
right.
200.
Yep, yep. So, what are your thoughts then?
Yeah, I'm gonna like I said, I'm still gonna lean Gibson just for the PPR ceiling where we know that all of Drake's production is going to be attached to 21 carries for 78 yards and
And a
one or two
touchdown.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll lean Drake or rather Gibson over Drake in PPR for some pass catching upside that we've seen him be finally be getting.
Okay. Yeah. So Gibson it
And
is.
no JD McKissick anymore either, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. He's out. He's out for
On
sure.
IR, yeah.
So yeah, there you go, Charles. Oh, we got another big fan, Michael Petropoulos. Home league wide receiver three starting plus Cup and Chase between Koronic, Terrace Marshall, Wendell Robinson, KJ Osborne. What are we thinking?
I'm thinking Osborne.
Really interesting.
Yep. And kind of easily, I'm thinking Osborne. I mean,
Okay.
so KJ Osborne had 11 targets last game. Yeah, Kirk Cousins isn't going to attempt 50% or 50 passes every game, but he seemingly has surpassed Adam Thielen in the pecking order. Skowronek also saw that similar target share, but caught 2 passes for 17 yards. Terrace Marshall is about as boom or bust as it gets, and I'm still like the jury is still out for me on Terrace Marshall or whether or not he's
Okay.
actually an NFL talent.
I like
And Wondell limited and hurt the whole game. Against Detroit is obviously the best matchup on this slate that he's listed, but I kind of like KJ Osborne here.
so. One second. One second. Shut up, dude. All right. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean that's I'll hear your Terrace Marshall case. I think Wandale is easily the best matchup on this slate against Detroit,
Yeah, but
but
he's hurt,
and just
right?
hasn't been good.
Right. Also, yeah, yeah. I know you have him hype him up a lot, but just not the best currently. But anyway, here's my case. Baltimore is has a positive points over average for wide receivers, while Dallas does not. So there's that. And yeah, because Dallas is a very good defense, right? So that's not great for your Osborne shares. And I don't know, he's been averaging more points. I know he's boomer bust, but he has that boom potential, and I would rather risk that boom potential than starting KJ Osborne. KJ 6 points Osborne, right?
Yeah, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Because if it was a better matchup, I'd consider it. But given that it's a worse matchup, I just can't bring myself to starting Osborne, even if he is like slightly higher in the pecking order in his team, slightly better QB. I just can't do it.
The return of Baker doesn't throw you off those wide receivers at all.
Nah, I mean, I think that
I think
the
Baker's a
difference there is
much better quarterback
exaggerated.
than PJ
Yeah,
Walker.
yeah. The difference is way exaggerated. They're if at least at the same level, I think. Like PJ
Right.
Walker had that insane throw to win them the game. Well, like I think sent it to overtime for DJ Moore, and that like gave him points. But I think they're at least at the same level. So I'm not scared, to be honest. Yeah, there you go, Mike. Good luck and shut up. Alejandro Mantilla, good morning, fellas. Best of luck today. First one, half PPR, Kenyon Drake or Singletary?
Singletary.
Drake. What?
Yeah. Against the Browns, why not? Yeah. Singletary's been, I mean, he's literally been an, RB low end RB1, high end RB2 all season. So,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And
I mean,
Cleveland's not
like,
a
why
bad
we
matchup.
shouldn't overthink that when a player's literally averaging, 13 points per game and the other guy is touchdown dependent with shaky volume, I think, yeah, I wouldn't overthink
Yeah, I
it.
just enamored with the matchup and the no Gus Edwards and the buy and stuff like that. I guess it does make more sense to play Singletary. Uh, but yeah, I think
And
it's a
hey, man,
lot
I,
closer
I
than
like
most
Kenyon
people give
Drake.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, I
There
think
we
it's
go.
a lot closer than most people would give it credit. But yeah, Singletary, especially now that they're not playing in fucking 6 feet of snow, right? So
Right.
dome game. Okay, I accept the Singletary verdict. So all right, there you go, Alejandro. Now we got Big Will. Good morning, fellas. Even while I'm working, I'm still listening to you. Hey, nice.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great day too. Good luck with work. Uh, Idan Ontiveros have a pretty tough start sit today. Three. Swift, Mike Williams, Sutton, Tony, Isaiah Pacheco, full PPR. I know Pacheco is one of the sleepers this week, so
Hmm.
it's gonna be interesting. What are your thoughts here? I want to hear your thoughts. I don't want to have a verdict yet.
Well, I mean, I can kind of play process of elimination here. I would
Yeah.
start Tony over Isaiah Pacheco. I would start Mike
Mm,
Williams over Cortland Sutton. So that leaves
mm.
kind of, are we starting
Swift.
Swift over Sutton and Pacheco as well?
Yeah.
That's really where my analysis is starting to break down. And I think, yeah, like 100%.
So we're doing Swift, Williams, Tony.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at
I
all.
think it is really tough, especially knowing that, Mike Williams has the injury designation as well. But then your pivot's already in your lineup that you're considering, which would be Isaiah Pacheco because they play the same game.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can pick and choose there. So, but we agree, right? Like Swift, Williams, Tony as a
Yep,
start.
100%.
Uh, just so you know, Mike just dropped Skowronek and picked up Osborne in the league we're in together. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
I
just got
love it.
notification.
Let's
Yep,
go,
yep.
Mike.
So there you go. Good luck this week. And Ray asked earlier, like, are you worried about what happened last week to Patterson? I mean, yeah, that's why we're not starting him like as
Yeah, for sure.
immediate.
For sure, and I mean, especially since you're dealing with standard there, Ray. Like you want his yardage total to be through the roof, and obviously have some touchdown production. And I will say though that I think the narrative of his snap count last week is being overblown. It's something that Mike and I had touched on the podcast earlier in the week. Is that he was coming off injured reserve, had played a Thursday night game, so it was a short turnaround. To the next week, so it's not crazy that after missing 4 weeks playing the Thursday night game and then a short turnaround, not seeing a similar opportunity share, but playing a similar amount of snaps, that shouldn't be that shocking for a veteran running back. I do think it's being blown out of proportion a bit, but also like they're not gonna like Tyler Algier's not really going anywhere. Regardless of how ineffective he's been, they're in a position where they have a rookie running back. You may as well see what he gets or see what he can do for you guys and see if he's worth keeping around in the
Right,
future because the future is
right.
all that matters for that franchise.
Yeah. So yeah, in short, to answer your question, yes, a little bit. Another one from Alejandro. Pittman, Mike Williams, or Slayton sit one. Slayton.
Sit Slayton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even in the
He had
great
better
matchup
numbers.
there, Matt Ryan back, Pittman back to 12 targets a game. Pittman is a better talent than Slayton and Mike Williams against the Chiefs. Yeah.
And they're being coached by Hall of Fame coach Jeff Saturday. So like he got
Undefeated.
100% win percentage career. So
Right.
yeah, I know we shit on the Colts last week, but yeah, Pittman. Okay, Alejandro, there you go. Okay, there's Tony or Myers, and for running backs, Elijah Mitchell or Swift.
Tony and Swift, but the Swift and Mitchell one's closer than I'd like to admit.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, but still, like waiting for Monday and sweating out your matchup with Elijah Mitchell, I do not want that. To be
Exactly. Yeah.
perfectly honest, I would not want to be in that
Exactly.
position.
Exactly.
So I agree with you, Tony and Swift.
And I'm a big Jacoby guy, but that Jet secondary is nasty.
Yep. Another one from Alejandro. Njoku plays full PPR, him or Dolcic?
Hmm.
I feel like
I think
Njoku.
Njoku. Yeah. I mean, Njoku was like a top 5 tight end before he got injured, man.
Yeah, well, he does play
He's really
Buffalo.
just their
Like
number 2 wide receiver.
he does play Buffalo, so
I
that
know
is
Tre'Davious White Buffalo. I know Greg Russo Buffalo.
true, true.
Yeah. But
They
yeah, I
they
mean,
just haven't allowed a lot of points to
points
tight
to tight
ends.
ends.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's kind of where Njoku does kind of cross that threshold because his like slot snaps, or he led the
Is
team
he
in
a wide
slot
receiver?
snaps. Yeah, so I mean, kind of. He's at least there, secondary wide receiver. Maybe you could argue Peoples Jones now. He's definitely taken a little bit
Yeah.
of comfort into that role more. But certainly when Njoku was on the field, it wasn't like it was Amari Cooper and David Njoku, and this all the stats say it, all the box scores say it. Like he was the number 2 receiver. So I do like David Njoku a lot. A tougher matchup, but also first game back from a pretty significant injury in that high ankle sprain. That worries me as well.
Mm, but yeah, I don't know. I want to. I'm leaning Dolcic, just safety, because it's still tight
Yeah,
ends. It's not gonna make or break your matchup. So I'll just go with the healthy guy. We talked about Dolcic earlier and how he's a good option. So I think you go with him, even though I do
yeah,
like Njoku.
yeah. And points over average definitely doesn't suggest either are a very good matchup, but I think it kind of leans
No,
towards the Denver offense in this one rather than the Cleveland offense
right,
against Buffalo.
right, yeah. So yeah, there you go, Alejandro. Good luck. Good morning, guys. Full PPR need one. DJ Moore, MVS, Donta Foreman. Starting Kelsey and Lazard didn't do well. Yeah.
Lazard did not,
Uh,
yeah,
so
pan out
DJ Moore,
there.
MVS, Donta Foreman. Foreman is the bust this week, if I remember correctly. Is he not?
Yep. Foreman's Themi's downgraded running back of the week, the proto fantasy bust. I still like Foreman on it based on a volume play, but like we're talking PPR, he's not really going to catch many passes.
Yeah, and we have
Uh
like very good passing options. Oh, well, I'm starting DJ Moore. I might not.
yeah, me too.
I know people are scared of Baker Mayfield, but I think he's gonna be fine. So like, I've been saying this for years, but I think DJ Moore is gonna be fine. And MVS,
It's been
mm,
real rough waters with DJ Moore, man. I don't know that we can think he's going to be fine, but I think MVS even in a like we have enough data now to know that like vacated targets are not just allocated to one guy when somebody else goes out. Like MVS earns the targets that he gets, and he doesn't earn a very high share. He's a boomer bust play regardless of who's on the field. I like DJ Moore more than MVS. I like Dante Foreman more than MVS this week, and that's knowing that they're without McCole Hardman or Juju Smith-Schuster. But I think I'm going to lean DJ Moore slightly over Dante Foreman.
mm, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm with you. So it's not an easy choice and it's not a pretty choice, but I think DJ Moore takes it here. Henry, would you start Marquise Brown back from IR?
In a
Yes.
vacuum, yes. I
Okay, I
don't
can
know
he
who
gave
your
more
options
more
are,
context.
but
So Tony Gallup, Brown, back from IR. Are you going
I
Tony
mean,
over Brown
yeah,
or
kind of. Yeah, just a little bit. Again, that's kind of a safety play because you didn't really list a Monday night pivot, and I know Tony's playing the Sunday night game, which should has shootout written all over it. I'm starting Marquise Brown. I'm even risking starting Marquise Brown for like a Jawan Jennings pivot over Michael Gallup in this situation. But man, like I
mm,
said, I have Tony in my top 20 wide receivers this week. Brown just ahead of him if he plays, but that's on the assumption that he fully
yeah,
plays, right?
and that's
So
that
I would
risk.
obviously downgrade that ranking come any new news, and or any news that he would not receive a full snap share or anything like that. So that knowing that they're so close already in what is a pretty perceived good matchup for Tony, and a much better matchup than people think, for Marquise against San Francisco as well. But yeah, I'm going to start Tony here.
Yeah, I think I agree. Just no need to risk it there. We got Constantine, Morning Boys, non PPR. Start Rondell Moore, Mexico game, Monday with Marquise coming back, potentially, or Mike Williams coming back from injury if he plays. You're the Rondell guy, so I'll let you answer this one.
Yeah, non PPR is where you can probably downgrade Rondell Moore the most. If Rondell Moore in a standard league is, you can remove 13 targets for 9 receptions and 88 yards looks a lot worse when it's just 8.8 points, right? Because he hasn't really had the touchdown production that we would hope that comes with that target share and some of the red zone opportunities that he's been given. I like Mike Williams over Rondell Moore in a standard league, for yardage totals,
Mm.
especially in
Oh,
his.
it is standard. I missed that. Yeah.
Right. We've had more standard questions today than any
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
episode, I
Crazy.
swear. But you're talking yardage totals here. I would project Mike Williams, he is the one that said, like, I'll see you on Sunday. Has no kind of coaching hold back there. They expect Mike Williams to play. Keenan is more questionable, I think you could consider. I would start Mike Williams over Rondale Moore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Yeah, yeah. Go safer as well. Another one. From Henry. Oh, it's the same question, just spelled out Marquise instead of just Brown. So thank you for that as well. Alejandro, full PPR, Antonio Gibson or Damien Pierce. Do you have any insight on Hollywood plays Monday? He says
No
he
more
is.
insides than I think anyone else
Yeah,
does. Yeah,
yeah.
he says he's ready to go. Cliff Kingsbury, even a couple weeks ago, said, I consider it day to day rather than week to week now, or whatever was the quote. So he was expecting Hollywood to come back for sure, if not this week after the bye, which would be next week for them. So that's really all the information that any of the beat reporters have shared with us. He traveled with them to Mexico. He's on the active roster. He's not on injured reserve anymore, but he's not activated from the injury report. So
Right.
that's kind of how you can look at that. And for the
Yeah.
first question, it's still Damien Pierce, man, for me in this situation. He did have obviously a down week, last week, but torched the Eagles defense, who are traditionally a very tough defense against the run, the
Yep.
week before.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I mean, Damien Pierce for me over Antonio Gibson.
Yeah. It's slightly, but yes, still Pierce. To be honest. So yeah, there you go, Alejandro. We got one from Timothy Petropoulos. Carter, Ayuk, Tony. I'm assuming DeAndre Carter, right? Or am I missing?
Or Michael. Either way, you can sit
Oh,
both of them over
yeah,
these other two options. You
yeah.
can sit every starter in the NFL over Ayuk and Tony, or under Ayuk and
True,
Tony, rather.
true.
Ayuk
So
and Tony is the real interesting question here, and
no,
I
it's just sit
love.
one. So we're
Oh,
done.
so sit Carter. What
Yeah,
do we even do?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
there
sit
you go,
all of
Timothy.
them.
Sit all the Carters. You heard it here first. Uh, Toronto Dave. Hello, Goofies. Hey, what up?
Toronto. Something.
Henry. Who should I start as my wide receiver two? Marquise Brown, Bragg from IR, Gallup, or Tony? Which or should I start RB2 Foreman or Pacheco? Which
I think
should
we would
okay.
just. I think we just had this. Well, I mean, we just had the top question. It was definitely, we took
Yeah, I
Tony
think we
over.
took too long, and
Yeah,
he repeated it a couple times, and then the other one, Foreman or
my
Pacheco.
bad. Foreman or
That's literally the
Pacheco?
sleeper and bust
Yeah,
for this week, right?
legit.
So
So I'm gonna defer with my homies here, and we're gonna go Pacheco.
yeah, there you go. So Pacheco and the other one we already answered. So yeah, Alejandro, thanks for the analysis today, boys. Let's get these dubs. Yes, it's
Yeah,
time.
head to brotofantasy.com after the stream and check out the week 11 sleepers and busts.
Do that. Do definitely do that. Charles Kearney. Now we're getting real frisky. Full PPR in my flex. Currently have Hollywood or slot in Drake.
Hollywood, risk
Yeah,
it.
you're risking it. You're risking it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I
I
want to
like
know
Drake. I
like
mean, that's me. That's me saying that I like Drake and I like
yeah
Drake in
yeah
this
yeah.
matchup here too.
I want to
Like
get more context in this matchup. See if you can like slot in both potentially. Like who do you have in wide receiver? Who do you have in at running back? Because I think they both have high potential, high risk with Hollywood. So you would need a
very high
pivot
risk.
as well. But I want to get more context here. See if we can slot them both in. Uh, but yeah, yeah, this is interesting. Give us more context, Charles. Will be more helpful. So let's take a break from questions and talk about sleepers and busts for a minute because we've mentioned them a little bit. We've mentioned Foreman, we've mentioned Pacheco, we've mentioned, you know, who do you want to talk about from the ones you oversaw,
Well,
sleepers
I'll
or
kind of
busts?
I'll bring a little new life and talk about somebody that haven't had many start sit questions on to give people a little bit of insight on one of my sleepers. I feel pretty good about Darnell Mooney this week, man. And it's certainly a sleeper. He hasn't really been performing to the anticipated outcome that we thought in the season. And I guess we shouldn't have been so high on Justin Fields as a pure passer, but Mooney's pulling in 28% target share this season. That's wide receiver 10. He's earned 5 or more targets in every game since week 2, which that also coincided with the last time that Justin Field recorded fewer than 20 pass attempts. Now he's still
Mm,
only completing 12.3 attempts, or yeah, 12.3 passes and 20.7 pass attempts per game. But they face a really good defensive matchup that could help Mooney and a few of the other options overcome that menial usage. The Bears travel to face the Falcons in week 11, who allow a league worst 280.1 passing yards per game, 25.0 offensive points per game to opposing offenses. And they've also allowed 6 different wide receivers and not good ones, all of them either, to post 100-yard games this season. So 6 out of 10 receivers or leading receivers, I should say, have posted 100-yard games against the Falcons. They give up 39.2 points per game to wide receiver. That's a true matchup ranking of
yep.
first overall because they concede an absurd
Yep.
50.3% of the points over average to the position.
Crazy.
So Darnell averages, 10 points per game. Well, 15 or 50% of that is roughly around 15 points per game. I mean, I kind of have a similar projection on Tony that we talked about earlier, but I see Darnell Mooney could have a 7 receptions, 58 yards, and find the end zone for the third time this season, or fourth time rather. I forgot he had a touchdown the other week this season. So yeah, I feel pretty good about Darnell Mooney. It's certainly a risky play, but I think a lot of people are overlooking him just because of the menial passing volume. And if there was any matchup where Darnell Mooney can finally live up to the target share and finally live up to the hype that he had preseason, with his sophomore target share as well, then it's this week against the Falcons for sure.
I like that. I like that analysis a lot. We actually just got more context from Charles on that roster. Wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, and MVS. Had Henry play Thursday, and Gibson's the RB2. And flex, like we know, is Hollywood versus Drake. Is this too insane? Starting Hollywood over MVS, Drake in the flex, and just risking it out on Monday night, see if he plays. Is that too crazy? Well, I mean, if we
No,
are
I don't think
telling him
that's too crazy.
to start Hollywood in the flex, we are already risking it that he plays like a little bit more flexible, I suppose.
Right.
Having him in the flex. Mm, Uh,
Yeah, I mean that's smart process, kind of keeping the last players to play in the flex so that you can
right.
pivot out. Because like we were saying earlier, especially in a redraft league, if in that flex spot you have to pivot, you could pivot to a Jawan Jennings or a Trey McBride or
Or
one of the backup
yeah,
running backs, right?
Eli
Whereas
Mitchell,
obviously
someone.
if
Oh, that would be good,
right,
but
he's probably not Ross. Well, I mean, maybe, but
maybe.
still, like, yeah, definitely under 70%. But still, that being said, it's pretty tough to find that production from one player, and then you kind of open yourself up, depending on how keen your league is, to other managers blocking you from that pivot.
Right. Yep. Yep. So
I mean, man, in a vacuum, it really
how
is
risky
you're
you want to
benching
get?
MVS here. Like in a vacuum, it really is. But knowing where the matchups are placed in the week, I think you kind of have to keep Hollywood in that flex, and then just hope
Yeah.
and pivot off. I have him ahead of Kenyon Drake playing like in their points out total today. I talked about Drake's projections earlier. I have him around 78 scrimmage yards and needs a touchdown. Really, kind of doing the Mike Clay parlay thing where I have him maybe at like point 0.8 touchdowns. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Uh, yeah. I wish you could go absolutely insane on that, but I think
The
it's the
Monday just
safest
makes it
and
the
smartest.
harder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just keep flex Hollywood and pivot if you need to like a McBride or a Juwan Jennings, something you can get. Because yeah, like this is important because if you can get a tight end in that flex, I know there's some only like wide receiver, running back only flexes. If you can get a tight end, McBride's a good option. But yeah, you need that flexibility for that uncertainty that Monday night brings.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go, Charles. Hopefully this is useful and thanks for the context. This was a fun question, a very fun question. So yeah, let's go back to the sleepers and busts because I
Yeah.
like that first analysis.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, let's read off some of the other authors here as well. We had Femi at Gridiron Greek and Boyd's hop in on this one as well. So somebody that we did already talk about, and I'll go a little, I guess, negative, so to speak, on this one, but is running back Deontay Foreman. Um, from the Panthers, who has, not the greatest matchup against the Ravens this week. And obviously, it's hard to bench a player that's had 110 plus rushing yard performances in the last 4 games, but this isn't this same situation against those games. Two of those games came against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 26th against the run in EPA and are the fifth best matchup for running backs in Brodo's true matchup rank. And Chuba Hubbard was kind of eased in last week when he finally returned, but a rise in usage is very likely again at some point in the season. One of those other teams, like we said about the Falcons, that's kind of looking towards the future. Future is really all that matters for that franchise. So why not see what you have in Chuba Hubbard? Foreman's only other noteworthy game this season was a 15 carry, 118-yard performance against the Bucks when the game that Hubbard was injured. 94 of those yards came on 3 plays in the final drives of the
Yep.
game in
Yep.
garbage time. So his week 9 performance against the Bengals, I think, is an indication of how things can go terribly wrong. The Bengals are fifth toughest matchup in running backs based on true matchup rank, and they slowed him down significantly. He managed 23 yards and 7 carries of that game. Was kind of written out of the game script right away, though, when Joe Burrow just started bombing on that Panthers defense, and Joe Mixon had 5 touchdowns. So they weren't really in a position to be running the football, but that can happen in any game because it's not like the Ravens aren't a good offense either, right? Like they can certainly put up points and numbers on that Panthers defense, and they're red hot coming off their bye week, favored by double digits at home. They're the sixth toughest matchup for running backs in true matchup rank, and that makes things really difficult for Deontay Foreman unless he scores a touchdown. I mean, the volume isn't necessarily there in what we would assume to be a negative game script with them being 10-point underdogs in a road matchup. And he doesn't really, he's a 2 down grinder. I still think like as a very cheap, like kind of rest of season outlook asset. He's a good, ad or cheap buy, what have you, but maybe wait until after he has a bad performance against the Ravens, right? Drive
Yeah.
that value down a little further because he is going to get the lion's share of the opportunities until Chuba makes more of a case for the changing of the guard. But in this matchup, in what we can assume is pretty low volume work for a guy that's only getting rushing opportunities, it's bust territory for Deontay Foreman.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. But if there's one week, it's this week, right? Even
Right.
though what we've seen so far, uh, it's always ugly. Like Chuba has not shown to be good either, right?
No,
So even if he does come back eventually,
no, and I mean that's
he
kind of the same
definitely
thing
will.
with Algier. Is it's like it's not like the kid's good, but you have a young running back and you have an aging running back that
That's true.
is
That's
not a
true.
part of the future plans sort of thing. It's just one of those. Maybe they
Very true.
figure it out, but also it's not like they're trying to win games. But yeah. All of that coupled and combined together just does not make Foreman for as enticing as a start as he has been in recent memory.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Foreman's a weird case because he just like out of nowhere will pop up, give you some incredible games, and then be mediocre for the rest of the year, and has done it multiple times as well, right? So,
I mean, he did it
well, he was
last year as
injured.
well.
He was injured early on when
Right.
he was in
Like,
Houston. Uh, So like 4 or 5 years ago when he was Houston, he got like pupped and never came back from the pup list. He's a very interesting case, honestly. But yeah, here's a question for you: who do you think is better? As like you're an NFL GM and you get the choice, Algier or Hubbard? Because I know you were a Hubbard guy when he was coming out.
Well, he's Canadian, yeah. And I mean, I was a big Hubbard guy because everybody was. He spent 1 year too long in college. I mean, if he would have entered as a junior, he would have been
Yeah.
drafted higher. It wouldn't have changed the level of talent that he is, but it certainly would have changed the kind of outlook on his career, because his, fourth year at Oklahoma State was dreadful. That said, if the draft starts today and all things equal, and they're both on the board, I think I'm going Tyler Algier, simply because
I agree.
I do genuinely believe he is a. I think the right word is role player here. Tyler Algier has a very succinct role that you can implement in 100% of NFL offenses, and that is give that guy the ball between the tackles, like just into a crowd of people. That's where Tyler Algier excels because he's a linebacker. He's a tank. Literally his first full year ever playing the position at a professional level. So, yeah, I think there's use for that, and he is better in that role than Hubbard being mediocre at kind of everything.
Oh yeah. Yo, I
Right? Like
remember how
he can do
excited people
more
were.
than Algier can, but he doesn't do anything better than Algier does.
Yeah, I remember how excited people were when CMC. Well, not that they were excited when CMC got injured, but like, oh, this is Hubbard's opportunity. Like even me, I drafted him at the like last round of a bunch of drafts, and then he just did nothing like with that opportunity. He like most backups even have one good game before they suck again, but he just like
Right.
didn't. Like who was the backup this year that just blew up and then faded
I mean,
forever?
I get you could say Khalil Herbert, I guess. You could say Dante Jackson. You could say,
Oh, Jackson.
uh,
Jackson. I was thinking of
okay, yep.
Jackson. Yeah. Yeah. So he just like blew up one game and then we'll all forget he ever existed.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
I mean, yeah, and he didn't even have that one good game Hubbard did. So
Right.
crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to segue right into it. Somebody else that we're starting to forget about even exists because he's not showing himself on the field. It's Deontay Johnson has just been one of the most disappointing fantasy assets in my opinion, especially because of how high I was on him specifically. Obviously, a little personal bias there, but he's yet to record a single game inside the wide receiver one tier this season. He has just
Oof.
one lonely, sad game inside of the top 24 wide receivers in PPR. And the Steelers' top wideout enters week 11 with 0 touchdowns to his credit this season. He's averaging 10.5 points per game, which is wide receiver 41. And me, specifically, everybody, I continue to hold out hope for Johnson as he has a 26.1% target share and a 25.2% target rate. And that, I'm a target share guy and I'm a earning
Yeah.
opportunity
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
always
For sure.
believed that, talent earns opportunities. And those opportunity shares suggest that he still possesses an elite ability to earn opportunities. Unfortunately, the value of those opportunities have been essentially worthless and evidence backed by Kenny Pickett's 36th ranked true throw value of 3.04. So like what that's essentially telling us for people that, true throw value is like adjusted fantasy points per attempt. So like what that basically is telling us is that Pickett needs to target Johnson three times just to earn a single fantasy point.
Yikes.
So yeah.
Yikes.
So couple that with Johnson's continuously declining production and touchdown production declining with an intimidating defensive matchup against the Bengals. It's just a recipe for disappointment. The Bengals defense concedes 23.5 points per game to opposing wideouts. That's 18th in true matchup rank and points over average rating of -3%. He's already a negative on your roster. So expected decline in production against a tough matchup isn't, something that I really think he's going to be able to overcome.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Steelers are an interesting case, as you know, for me. So it's been disappointing. However, Deontay Johnson does get that insane volume, and
Right.
that's the only thing that has him being relevant this year so far. I forget who do they play.
Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals. Oof, that's gonna be an interesting game. I'm gonna enjoy that one. That last time around, it was a great game.
Yeah.
It was about like
Yeah. I
week
mean, yeah.
two, week one.
Well, I wasn't the Bengals Kenny Pickett's first start.
No, no, no. That was before, I think. Let me
Okay.
just Google it real quick. Steelers Bengals. Because I remember enjoying. It was the that insane catch in the right side of the end zone. I think, like for the Bengals. But I think it was before Kenny's time. Yeah, it was week one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah, it
was
was week one with an OT win for the Steelers. It was so good.
that is unexpected. Oh, this is still Trubisky, obviously. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
mean,
was week one, and I think it was like when every single kicker decided to not make field goals.
oh right. Yes. Yes, I remember that now.
Yeah, so it was a great game.
Man, the season has just flown by. Like week oh, hit the mic. Week 11 already. Week 1 seems so far away, but wild.
It's crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like, oof. Yeah, well, I mean, it's 3 months. Like almost 12 weeks, 3 months.
Right.
Season flown by, but it's still a good
Yeah,
amount
football
of
season
time,
makes my
man.
life go by way faster, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's getting tight in the fantasy landscape, in the football landscape. I'm gonna enjoy. Well, I'm gonna try to enjoy the Thanksgiving games next Thursday. I don't get the day off, so I have a full day of school ahead of me. I probably won't get to watch a lot, but I do enjoy those like full day slates. Like
Yeah,
I don't
me
know if they're
too.
doing it this year, but like the what do they call it? Wild card weekend, like wild card Saturday, when they have like 3 games. So morning, afternoon, night. Oh man, that's usually right after finals. So I just finish my
Oh,
finals on Friday, and then have a full day Saturday of just not doing anything after the
beautiful.
full 2 weeks of burnout. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a great time, and usually by that time, I mean fantasy's over, so I can
It's
just
football
also
just for
relax on that
enjoyment.
end. Yeah, it's full, but just for enjoyment after tough weeks. So that wildcard weekend is my favorite, my favorite, absolutely. Can't wait. Get some fried chicken, watch TV all day. Can't think of anything better.
No, man, that's the life. Yeah, I mean, even as soon as we get off here, I always go and like set my lineups, go and grab
Oh
some
yeah,
food, some
I do that.
breakfast, a coffee or whatever. Yeah, which is funny because like I answer all of these questions and it opens up my mind to things and my
Oh
eyes
yeah,
to things,
absolutely.
and then I have to go and like adjust myself. So that's why one of the reasons that I love the show is it's so much is it's self beneficial as well. But yeah, the Sundays where I can just zonk out and you know enjoy food, watch the games with no pressure is always better than when I'm spending the analysis time.
Yeah, but like something that really happens is I answer all of these questions. I get your analysis, I get my analysis, I go in deeper, and so I modify all my lineups because now I have more info, right? So it's super helpful for me as well.
100%.
Also,
Yep.
I just realized that wildcard weekends in January this week, sorry, this year. So that's very very disappointing for me. So January 14th, that's wild.
I mean, well, no, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
with the extra
Everything's
week, because
yeah,
yeah, week 18, and then
extra week, 1 week less bye, or 1 week less preseason
right,
game too.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. So we had
And then I
week
think
18
there's no more like Pro Bowl
January.
game either, right? Isn't that
No,
like moved the schedule around as well?
no, but like Pro Bowl was right before the Super Bowl, so it's just like oh, we still have like Pro Bowl week, just no Pro Bowl game because they're gonna do
Oh,
like
right.
drills
Yeah,
and
okay.
shit. So yeah,
Which
that
is
doesn't change.
way cooler, straight up.
Honestly, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let's get back to some questions. We took a good break there. Nico Collins or Wandell Robinson? You said Robinson's iffy to play, right?
I know. I think he's cleared. He's just been limited and injured this week. I do think that he's fully cleared to play, though. Wandale against the Lions.
No,
Houston
but
against
I mean, Washington.
Exactly. So
A
it's
soft
not
ass
like
defense.
just two incredibly soft defenses. Nico had a pretty good game last week too. Certainly
Yeah,
better than any game we've seen
and
from
and, and
Wandale
and
this
Washington's
season.
like third in points over average allowed to wide receivers. So that's a
And
boost
half
of thirty
PPR
percent.
changes things for me actually quite a bit because
Mm.
Wandale is a negative 3 yard depth of target guy that needs
Yeah,
to be peppered with targets. I'm actually, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable leaning Nico Collins in this matchup.
yeah, yeah. I like that. Nico Collins. So there you go, Will. Uh, hopefully you've arrived at your destination. So you're not typing while driving. So, but Nico Collins, Constantine. I have Denver and New England DST. What are some good DSTs for the next couple of weeks? Oof.
Oh,
I
that's
think
a
you
good
gotta go
one.
week to week. I honestly just go week to week. Even this
When you're
week where
streaming
I have
defenses,
Dallas.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
streaming defenses, I agree. It's certainly week to week pertinent. And that said, like there's probably some decent low end like streamers that you could have for a 1 to 2 week matchup, but things change so consistently in the NFL. Like, even if it looks like they have a good 2 to 3 week window, then somebody else's quarterback gets injured or something, and now you want that defense, even though they're ranked 28th overall.
yep, yep.
But you want them for just that one stream. So it really is a week to week thing. A defense that I think isn't getting enough praise for being a consistent starting fantasy defense is the Jaguars. So I will throw that name out there.
Also, I mean, New England is good. I mean, I think this week they have the Jets, who the Petropolis will excuse me, but they're not fantastic. They're not like a powerhouse offense. And I think New England against the Jets is a good option for DST
I
this
mean,
week.
Denver against the Raiders are a great option, but they're
Yeah,
both,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. And I mean,
yeah.
they've
They're
both played
both.
their bye weeks, so like I wouldn't, yeah. I mean, I'd probably just keep either one of those defenses for the rest of the season.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're pretty good. Like New England is probably top five, so top five, at least top 10 the rest of the year, and that's what you want. And I think they have a top five potential. So yeah, you're in a good spot, man. I think I think that's a very good spot to be in. So and I would start New England this week over Denver, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. Fan first, we got Dominic Toretto, Gibson or Foreman PPR. It's Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% Gibson.
Yeah,
No,
we
no
got to
doubt
go
about
on
it.
brand, man. Broto Fantasy Buffs of the Week, Deontay Foreman. He's a
And
fade.
we've talked
Gibson's
about
got
Gibson a lot as
a
well.
incredible matchup. Yeah, a little softer against the run than the pass, but B-Rob isn't doing anything, man. And Foreman's still getting a decent enough opportunity share that you can feel confidence in a flex play here.
Yeah, for sure. So Gibson, Big Will, Curtis Samuel, or DJ Moore. You've been,
Samuel.
yeah,
No,
yeah. I was
DJ
about to say
Moore.
you. Oh, okay. Switch it up.
Yeah,
Give it to me. Give
I
give me
know.
your
I
thought process.
thought process kind of just came down to, immediately to that Houston secondary, and kind of part of the reasoning that we've seen that secondary be so bad is because of how easy it is to run the ball against them, or be so good rather, is how easy it is to run the ball against them. So they're a pretty low volume secondary, but they've had really good numbers, and they're a terrible matchup for a true matchup rank against wide receivers. DJ
Mm.
Moore has an easier matchup against a Baltimore secondary who's obviously, like, we've seen struggle all season, allow multiple 100-yard games, allow multiple 2 touchdown games to several receivers this season. I do think that Baker Mayfield is genuinely a better quarterback than PJ Walker, and I know their rapport is non-existent. But new head coach, new system. They haven't played together inside of that system, and hopefully Baker Mayfield understands that the assignment is just to get the ball in the best hands, or get the ball in the hand of your best player, which obviously is DJ Moore at this stage in the Panthers franchise. Yeah, half PPR also is what would really make me lean a little bit further, because I 100% confident he will have a higher yardage total than Curtis Samuel.
Okay. I like that. I like that process. Yeah. Half PPR.
Samuel's much more valuable in full PPR when it's, because literally, like, some of his stat lines are like 8 for 38.
Yeah, yeah. So Curtis Samuel's a very interesting player to me, man. Like the potential he had early on as a running back, wide receiver hybrid, and then coming back in his first season with Washington, he was like very, very good, and I like that a lot. So yeah, he has a special
I mean,
place
I
on my
I
fantasy
do
heart.
like Curtis Samuel. He's got a special place in my heart too. I'm a big reception perception profile guy. Shout out Matt Harmon of Yahoo. And
Right.
Curtis Samuel has been one of those players that it's like all you need is health. Really, it's suggested at least, his release profile and his route success rating. Like all you need is health. Everything else is pointing in the right direction for him. But situation matters as well, and obviously matchup matters as well for a week to week evaluation.
Oh yeah, definitely. So DJ Moore.
Yeah,
All right, DJ Moore. So
DJ
yeah,
Moore.
there you go, Will. We got one more from Big Will when we're closing in to our end time. George Pickens, Greg Dulcich, or Drake London have PPR as well. It's for the flex.
Pickens over London, London over Dulcich.
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree. I'm liking Pickens. I know we've shit on the Steelers offense a lot. I still think you go
I
with
mean, I could
George
shit on the
Pickens.
Falcons offense forever. So
Yeah. Oh my god, that offense is so bad. Have you seen the
yes.
Patterson tweets?
Oh, absolutely. I love. I mean, CPAT's one of the only players that I actually follow. I don't follow many players on Twitter, but I follow Patterson, and he's a legend.
Yeah, and he changed his profile picture to the ref that fucked him up.
Yep, he's so funny, man. Like he'll actively like he'll he got like eight fantasy points or whatever a game after having like 21, and he was like shared a picture of him talking to Arthur Smith on the sidelines like from the game, and he was like, swear it wasn't my fault. So like shit like that. Like I love Cordarrelle Patterson, man.
Man, yeah, yeah, he's very very funny, and he was a grip. Like last year, he was just insane. Other level player.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he was Debo Light, right? He was the closest thing that you had.
Yeah, he just like took everything by storm. He's huge too. Like there was a play I think last week. Yeah, it was probably last week where he just like a goal line play. I think he just bullied the linebacker, just blew right through him. Dump truck. We got
He's a
one
mean
question from
man.
Vic. Vic asks Garrett Wilson versus New England, Thielen versus Dallas, or Sutton versus Raiders. Need 2 out of 3. Full PPR. Sit in Thielen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I agree. Garrett Wilson, we talked about him. He's a good option. Sutton is nice as well, not the best. And then the Dallas defense is tough. So and you mentioned that Thielen might be taking on of like third string role rather than
I mean,
the wide
it
receiver two
certainly
he was
appears
been.
that certainly that snap share and target allocation appeared for that to be the case. I didn't see anything about injury or anything with Thielen. That was always kind of the word of the beat. Now it took a little longer because KJ Osborne got injured, but that was kind of always the word on the beat too, is that KJ Osborne was really taking over a secondary role ahead of Adam Thielen. We certainly saw that last week. Jury out if it continues, but yeah. Um, when these three options are the choice. And once again, Garrett Wilson's perceived difficult matchup against New England isn't as hard as like, you know, as hard as perception is allowing people to believe. He lit that defense up just 2 games ago.
Hmm, hmm. Yep. Yeah, he did. Uh, yeah, I think this is
And
not too
like
difficult,
Sutton, no
especially like
Judy,
full
man. I
PPR.
mean, that's
Yeah,
11
no
targets,
Judy
12 targets, right?
for sure, for sure.
Pure volume is Sutton over all three of these guys. And if we're just talking pure volume, I mean, he's going to have an insane target share in that Raiders game.
We have more from Vic. I don't know if the same league, different league. How do you feel about starting Keenan Allen this week? I like it, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm
me
ready to
too.
take the chance on it.
Same, 100%. If they clear him, I want to start him.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know injuries are a tough thing for decisions, but I think if the team has cleared one of the stars, you can start them not confidently, but you can at least start them with some degree
No,
of
100%, man. I mean,
certainty.
as layman as it is, you're absolutely correct. And they've yes, 30-year-old wide receiver hamstring injury that has kept him out of all but 2 contests this season. Yes, definite cause for concern, but they've also slow played this injury incredibly and taken all of the time that they needed and,
Yes, yes, they
really
have.
right, but they have. And that's a good sign for when they're finally like, look, our number one guy, he's going to play. So when they say that, when that distinction finally comes, I feel about as confident as they do. I genuinely do.
Exactly.
I trust in. I mean, this is kind of funny, but like maybe the Chargers doctors aren't the best ones to trust in, but I trust in team doctors when they
Good
tell me a
point.
player is going to play.
Good point. Um, yeah, yeah. The Chargers doctors are they just be poking lungs and shit. But oh, when Herbert had that rib injury a couple weeks ago, everybody
Everybody was
just got
terrified.
flashbacks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, so we have 5 minutes left for any last minute questions. If we don't, like the crunch time guarantees that we will get to every question, but you got 5 minutes and then we're done. We have to set our own lineups as well. We have to have breakfast. So yeah, this is just the
Facts.
last one. Joe says thank you. Hey, thank you for tuning in. He's
Oh, I
one of the
appreciate you, brother.
most regular viewers. We appreciate your questions. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening. So thank you all. Thank you all. We had like 20 viewers at some point, which is it's pretty nice for us, honestly. So like that's 20. What do you call it?
Yeah,
Like
we were.
simultaneous users. No, sorry,
Yeah,
viewers.
we were popping off.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, I
We
appreciate everybody coming in every time. This is again, this is one of the. I enjoy doing this so much. It's so much fun, and it helps me with my lineups incredibly as well. I play in such a high volume of leagues, so you guys are asking me a lot of questions that I have to consider myself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why it helps for our own lineups as well. You get to do this all this like thought process, talk about it with someone else, see all the pros and cons, look at the data specifically. So it's very helpful for us as well. It's funny. It's funny how that works. All right, we got another one, Andrew. Last minute question. Pick two full PPR. Damien Pierce, Tony. I'm guessing Kadarius Tony or Tony Pollard.
Or Tony
We'll
Pollard.
see. Yeah, we'll get more info from him. I'll just analyze Boyd and Terry and some McLaurin. Uh, full PPR. Damian Pierce. I mean, we might not even need to know who that Tony is. So like, I would like to go Pierce and Terry. How do you feel about that? Like just like
Yep.
first instinct.
For exactly. Yeah, we might not even need to know who that Tony is.
It's
I
sketchy.
think the argument. Okay, I think the argument. I was just about to say. I think the argument could be made for Kadarius over Terry, but I'm starting Pierce out of those 4 options. Yeah. Again, if you weren't tuning in a little bit earlier, I know last week wasn't so encouraging, but literally every single other week outside of that, regardless of matchup, has been. And I'm taking the L on Dameon Pierce as a prospect because the kid looks phenomenal, and I really don't think the Texans are going to replace him. As volatile as
No.
day 3 rookies are, there's just too many positions for that offense to fill. So more Dameon Pierce next year too, probably for those dynasty listeners. Yeah, that said, I'm starting Dameon Pierce. The Houston Texans are a tough defensive matchup for wide receivers, man. I really want to press this with that. I feel pretty confident on Kadarius Toney outscoring Terry McLaurin this week.
Oh, you're confident in that.
Confident might not be the right word, but it's certainly edging it. Certainly edging it towards, towards Kadarius here.
I mean, I just so we don't leave anything out. Are you considering Boyd at all?
Out of those 4 options, probably not. I would even have him behind Terry.
Uh, you're way more bullish on Tony than I am, honestly. So like the way I'm ranking these four is Pierce, Terry, Boyd, Tony.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I am definitely.
I'm just
I mean,
not
hey,
not
it's
not
it's
big on him.
it's been a theme of my week for sure. Is I am bullish on Kadarius Tony, and I always have been a dynasty guy here. I like Tony. And yeah, I've done all the analysis today on it, but I do think like 5 catches, 7 catches for 58, 78 yards and a touchdown is very much in Kadarius Toney's wheelhouse. I'm not necessarily as confident on that outcome with Terry McLaurin here, but I still like, to Terry's projections this week. Just downgraded matchup as well. Like the Houston Texans are a pretty difficult matchup for wide receivers.
That is true. That is true. I would still play Boyd over Tony. Gotta be honest. I know. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
know
mean
Juju's out.
we're gonna disagree.
Yeah. So yeah, my picks are Pierce and Terry. Your picks are Pierce and Tony.
Yep.
So we'll have to come back to this one, Andrew. Sorry, we couldn't agree. But yeah, you got both sides. You can make your own decision now. We got probably yeah. This is the last question we're gonna answer. So if ever this out, should I start Moreau or Conklin?
Foster.
Yeah, think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's legitimately the exact same projections that we're like talking about here is like 4 catches for 38.
Conklin has a slightly better matchup against New England than Moreau against Denver, and they average similar points per game. Conklin a little bit more, but I know he's boosted by his early weeks. I gotta be honest. I am starting Conklin in a couple places, so I might be biased saying Conklin, but maybe
Yeah,
like
it's so close for me that
it's
it's
very close. It's
genuinely
very
just
close.
man, Denver actually is just like the toughest defense possible. So the Raiders could legit get shut out. The Saints shut them out.
Right, right, and that
So
was bad even
literally
for
just coming
Devante
to that
Adams.
conclusion. Yeah, just coming to that conclusion, I'm gonna have to go Conklin.
All right, yeah. Hey, we agree.
I
So
mean, the
that was the
Raiders
last
legit might
question.
not score a touchdown.
Good luck, Mitchell, and start Conklin. Hopefully that works out for both of us. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you all. We appreciate your questions. Don't stop sending us questions. It's we will answer every single one. Don't you worry about that. So yeah, see you next week, week 12. Have a good one. Good luck with your matchups.